The neighborhood above the current First Baptist Church burned in the Great Fire of 1883, the first of 4 great fires which destroyed most of the town's early wooden structures. New commercial buildings were built of more fire-resistant materials such as brick and limestone. This neighborhood is one of the most interesting downtown. On the corner at 99 Spring is the Wadsworth Building, a popular furniture store at the turn of the century. Ghost signs on all sides of the building give hint to the wide variety of merchandise offered through the years. When the U.S. Post Office was built in 1918, they documented the whole process, leaving a record of this area at the time. The site originally had 2 small houses. The whole town turned out for the dedication in 1918. Across the street, the First Baptist Penn Memorial Church, built in 1912, was named in honor of Major William Penn, an evangelist and popular hymn writer. The Kentucky boarding house, originally built on this location at 104 Spring Street, was eventually replaced with the modern Sharps Continental Oil Filling Station in 1928. It was enlarged and converted to law offices in 1964. Next door at 110 Spring, the Elmwood House was constructed in 1883. As one of the first rooming houses built of brick, it survived the 1888 Great Fire. Little has been altered on the exterior over the years. This stucco building at Two Pine was one of the few downtown structures built between 1920 and 1970. The upstairs was the lodge hall for the International Order of Oddfellows, a fraternal organization. The adjacent parking lot was the site of Magnolia House Lodging in 1892. This is a turn-of-the-century view of Pine Street. Around the corner, on the west side of the street, once stood the Sweet Spring Hotel. It was built in 1887 and later became the Huntington Hospital. It burned in the 1940s, and the site was vacant until the current building was constructed in 1994. Public access to Sweet Springs was originally in the deep ravine across the street. In 1882, a long footbridge was built over the ravine behind the current post office. Around 1885, the spring opening was moved to its current location. The original wooden stairway leading to streets above was replaced in 1916 by one built in concrete with funds raised by the local women's club. Above the spring is the Sweet Harding Spring Reservation, public land set aside to protect the springs when the town was platted in 1892. The beautiful gardens all at the springs were created and maintained by the Eureka Springs Parks Commission. Sweet Spring is a good place to notice the limestone deeply woven into the fabric of Eureka Springs. The karst geology of this type of stone is also what makes the springs flow. Most of the city's fine limestone walls were erected before 1910, primarily using stone from a quarry near Beaver, 6 miles north of Eureka. It was transported by railroad and horse-drawn wagons. The total mileage of walls is estimated to be between 44 and 75 miles long. Many of these walls were built with a dry stack method, using skill and gravity instead of mortar, and they are still standing tall. Limestone is used for entire buildings, foundations, accents, sidewalks, and benches. And of course, the cragged limestone bluffs form a scenic backdrop for much of the streetscape. On the east side of Upper Spring is the Sweet Spring Building. As was not uncommon, this building has served a wide variety of uses over the years. A bathhouse, express office, tailor, ladies' barber and undertaker, and in the 1950s it was Webb's Cafe. In the 1880s, typical early lodgings, which changed names with each new owner, stood in between this building and the Palace Hotel, which still appears as it was when it was built in 1901 of local limestone. The spa baths used water from Harding Springs on the lower level, guest rooms on the upper floors. The spa still has most of the original fixtures. The sign is reported to be the first neon sign west of the Mississippi River, designed by colorful local sign artist By Golly.